background always gets taken it for a little bit. What's up, everyone? What's up, general audience? Your chat down there. Um, Probably not many people here right now. Oh, Sarah, you saw the movie. What did you think? Uh, yeah, we can actually talk now. Like, what did you think? Val, did you see it today as well? I think I saw, we were all on that Instagram chat. I think that's probably, I couldn't tell if you've seen it. Sarah, I know you've seen it. There is spoiler talk. I didn't put anything. I'm just gonna throw that up there right now. Like, this is a spoiler discussion. I understand if you haven't seen it, if you don't want to stick around, that's totally cool. But I did plan this as a spoiler discussion. Uh, Got back to the theater like 30 minutes ago. Okay, cool. So it's still fresh in your mind. Alex, audio's messed up. Okay, I thought there might be something. Hold on, let me check here. See if you can actually hear me. Setting audio here. Is that better? Can you hear me better now? I just made a change. Can you hear me better now? So good. Someone can give me a thumbs up if the audio is better. That's great. Not thumbs up on the video. Do that as well. Like a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me. I want to make sure I can heard. No, still not good. Still not good. Oh, come on, one second. Let me see here again. Of course. Anything. What about now? Can you hear me now? There's another change. Did it work? Did it no? Yes, no, maybe so. I hope it's working. If not, I'm gonna have to try something else here. I might have to end the stream and come back. Yes? Better? I see a yes from Sarah. Okay, I see Polar. Okay, cool. We got a yes now. Awesome. Great. All right, pretty much gonna do the exact same thing I did last Monday. I'm gonna start a new drawing. Gonna go. We're just gonna talk while I draw here. I do want to talk about the movie, talk about spoilers. Um, Great. Let me know in the chat really quick what y'all thought about the movie. Out of 10, give it your out of 10 rating. I'm not gonna give my out of 10 rating because I'm still. Yeah, Val, good call. Anyone coming in, we are talking about spoilers. I'm leaving this thing up the entire time, just so people know there's spoilers. 100%. I want to talk about anything's open. There are a couple things. If you saw Carter, 9.8 out of 10. Ooh, that's high. 8 out of 10. That's a good rating. It's a little higher than what I'm at. Jason, you're not seeing it till Monday. You might not want to stick around, my dude. We're gonna be. I'm gonna bring up some stuff, so I'm gonna give another few minutes of spoiler warning here. 8 out of 10, David. That's pretty good. I think I'm probably sitting at about a 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10 for it. I guess. Polar, you and I are pretty much on the same thing there. I think I think recency bias is definitely coming into play here. I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't want to insinuate that um, at all. I do think it's a great movie, but I think there were a few things because I watched it twice in the theaters. There are a few things on the second viewing that caught my eye that I'm just like, that doesn't really work or make sense. But we'll get to those things later. The Killers Were Fire. I've seen mixed things about them across. Don't worry about it, Thomas. You're not too late. I've seen mixed things about the Killers. Um, who they were good, they were bad. Some people are saying that the third act after the reveal was a little down. And I'm like, personally, I'll say it was predictable for me. And if any of y'all were here, the last stream I did where I drew, um, I gave all my predictions out there, and I was almost 100% on what the movie turned out. It was predictable, but I still found great enjoyment out of the movie, which I think is actually a positive. If I can know where the movie's going, but still enjoy getting there, that's a great movie. So
I was 100% certain it was going to be a rehash of Scream 2, and it was. It was a rehash of Scream 2. Katie, or not Katie, I'm sorry. Polar, I see that you didn't like The Killers. I actually really liked Quinn and Ethan. I thought Ethan was he was unhinged, like, and I don't. There's such a small moment here. I want to call out this small moment, and I cannot tell you why I like it so much. But y'all, seriously, this is going to be really spoilery here. What I'm about to say. So get out while the getting's good if you don't want it. I'm leaving, like I said, leaving this up the whole time, but I'm about to say something really spoilery here. There's a moment with Ethan that I don't know why I like it so much, but just the energy he gives off was just chef's kiss to me. When Tara falls, right? As soon as she lands on the ground, he, like, not even a second later has already stabbed her. And he just, in an unhinged way, he's like, gotcha. And that energy he gives off, I thought was beautiful. Of course, we know what Tara does to him next, which was just as beautiful. But the way he's just like, gotcha, it was beautiful to me. I loved it. Loved it so much. So I actually liked it. I didn't like Dermot so much. I thought he was like, he's just such a drastic change from the rest of the movie. And I guess all three of them were, but Dermot just, it was in a change where I didn't care for at the end. In terms of Quinn and Ethan, though, really dug it. All right, y'all, got a fresh piece of paper here. I'm gonna start a drawing. I'm gonna do a Ghostface. I don't know about y'all, but I really like a side Ghostface, like from the side. And there's a shot from the trailer for Part 6 actually that I really liked. I don't think I have it, but I really like it. So I'm gonna try to draw it while we're talking here. Really quick, let me scroll back to the comments here because I saw someone say they have a lot of questions for me. I think Scott, you said he got a lot of questions for me today. Uh, throw them in there, my dude. I'll answer anything. I'll answer anything I can. So, and like I said, I've seen it twice. So maybe if I caught something that y'all didn't catch, if you have any questions, throw them in here. Um, Finally able to get my cup. I was not. I Today was a weird day. Not to get into too much personal stuff, but my car actually had issues, so which is why I'm in a different where I look is completely different. Car had a little bit of issues, so I was taking care of that with the dealership and getting a rental and all that. So I just didn't have a chance to get down there today. They probably do have them on sale now, but I didn't have a chance. Why do you think Ghostface didn't kill Mindy when he had the chance? That is one of the big things about it on the second watch that I was like, that does not make sense. Um, so here's the deal. Ethan helping Mindy makes no sense at all. It just doesn't, because except for the audience, like it's almost like they wrote it to try to convince the audience that it wasn't Ethan. But what he's doing in movie doesn't make sense because Mindy has to die. They even say it later after the reveal. Sam's like, what are you going to do after this, huh? Just disappear? And he's like, well, we got to get to the hospital to make sure Gail and Mindy don't pull through. So they're going to have to kill her. And now they're setting it up where they have to go to a crowded hospital, although we know in Scream, hospitals are surprisingly empty all the time. But they're going to have to go to a hospital as Ghostface to kill off Mindy. It doesn't make sense for Ethan to help her though. Like, he helped her survive that and just set up more work for them later. It just doesn't make sense. Jake, what you're saying, Mindy faking her death, or not Mindy, but Quinn faking her death, my biggest problem with the movie probably is that. Although here's the thing, if anyone is excusing that, if anyone in 2023 is excusing Quinn faking her death, they cannot have a problem with Stu faking his death. You just can't. You're going to tell me that they get away with that in 2023? And his explanation of it, Detective Bailey's explanation of it was like, kind of just throw away like, oh, just be first on the scene, switch her body for a fresh one, some fake blood, prosthetic. And I'm like, wait a minute, y'all, they're getting DNA back. Sarah, yes, that was a surprise cameo. It was Jack Quaid. They're getting DNA back on those masks in a matter of hours, right? And they're able to. Jill and Charlie's mask was from what, 2011? They're getting that DNA back within hours. But there's a overnight, there's a multiple day stretch from when they take in this dead body and they haven't figured out that it's not who it's supposed to be. Yeah, that doesn't track for me, y'all. Believe they're related to Stu. Initially, that was what I was gonna go with. Honestly, initially I was thinking they were gonna be related to Stu. That was my hope. Once again, if you're coming in and this isn't, you haven't watched one of these types of streams before, I'm drawing down here. That's why I'm looking down. Yeah, initially I thought they were going to be related to Stu. I knew it was going to be a rehash of 2, which, and like I said, if you watched my prediction stream the other day, I thought it was going to be a rehash of part 2. And I thought maybe, see, David, you're saying Detective Bailey made that up. He didn't. The only problem with him making it up is he's not the one delivering it. People, we see in the movie, people delivering the masks to him. Like, if it was just him there, and it was outside of the LAPD or NYPD, I would believe that. But this is within the NYPD. Like, he's not the only one on the scene. He's not collecting the evidence himself. Even with Sam's license, someone else puts it in the bag. Like, he's not the one who's doing it. So him faking it and doing all this stuff when he's working an actual crime scene, like, if he was the only one there, I would buy that. But he's not the only one there. So I'm not buying that he's the one. I'm not buying he's faking that DNA. And we know they're real masks. So what would be the point of that? Like, we know from the whole shrine scene that the masks are real. So what would be the point of faking it? Anyways, the whole thing is, though, like, they're getting DNA back. They're getting DNA back. And even if they weren't getting DNA back, the fact that they can't, like, he switched a body, y'all. Like, you know how difficult it would be for him, first of all, to get into their building with a dead body, for Quinn to get out of that building alive, and him stage the scene with no one seeing. Like, how is that possible? Explain it. And like I said, if you explain that away, you can't explain Stu away. You can't just be like, well, Stu had to have done. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments here while I'm doing this. CZM, what's up, man? We're just talking about Scream 6. It is spoiler talk, as it says there, if you're just coming in. I'm also drawing down here, so Thomas saying Stu was basically dead. See, Thomas, here's my problem with that. I don't think that's what they were trying to say, because when Mindy and Kirby are talking, Mindy specifically says, Kirby sits down and says, that's the TV that killed Stu Macher. And what is Mindy saying? Mindy says, yeah, that's if you believe he's really dead. And watch it again. I've seen it twice now. There's no humor left in that. There's not. Like, there's it's not them saying, like, haha, in a joking way. It's a full-on legitimate statement. Like, so, and just this is a little side note, at the premiere, they were talking to the cast and crew and everything, including Kevin Williamson, right? And it was a big deal here recently because Kevin Williamson said, Stu is dead. He said it all out, right? Stu's dead. Well, what happened at the premiere that happened 3 days ago? They asked if Stu could come back, and Kevin Williamson has changed his tune. He said, I would say never, but I'm always wrong when I say that. Kevin Williamson has changed his tune. He's not saying he's dead. He's not saying in my mind he's dead. Like he completely changed his tune. And now with that line in there, here's the thing. Kirby is FBI. If she had every opportunity, the writers had every opportunity to add a line in there where they say he's dead. Like, yeah, if you believe he's dead, haha, those conspiracy theories. They don't do that. Okay, Thomas, he didn't say as a possible secret twin brother. He said in a joking manner, there's always the twin brother route. And that's obviously as a joke. Like, I don't think they wouldn't do that. I'm just going to throw it out now. I don't think they would do that at all. Bring back a Stu twin brother, because they've already established he had a sister we never knew anything about. But then they bring in a twin. They're just overdoing themselves. Anywho, what else here? I don't want to talk about all the negatives right now. I want to talk about the positives. Y'all, that opening scene. Did anyone guess it? What the opening scene was going to be? And here's something I noticed with the opening scene. When Ghostface calls, and this is part 3 aside, because part 3 is its own special monster because of the voice changer and how it's different and all that. So in every other one, when they get a call from Ghostface at the beginning, right? It's always still, oh my God, I'm forgetting. Holy crap, I am completely blanking on who plays Ghostface's voice. Roger L. Jackson. It's always, or not Roger L. It's not Sam. Roger Jackson. It's always his voice, but he's just not doing full-on Ghostface. But then he switches into the sinister Ghostface, right? That's the way it always is. But for this one, it was kind of obvious that it wasn't him. When he called, it was very obvious that it was Tony Revolori. If you've heard Tony Revolori talk, you instantly recognized it was Tony Revolori, which I thought was weird. I didn't know what was going to happen, like what was coming, but I was, I saw, I heard it. Like I heard that's Tony Revolori's voice, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get Tony Revolori as a Ghostface, and then we got Tony Revolori as a Ghostface. I wasn't expecting him to completely take off his mask. That sounded scary. Are you serious? Was there Mojo Jojo in the subway scene? I didn't see it. I think I caught one of the directors sitting in the subway. That when the lights are flashing, so you only see him for literally like 2 frames. But I'm pretty sure I caught one of the directors in the subway scene, which is pretty cool. I would definitely do that if I was directing a movie. I would have to be in it in some way. I don't want to sound narcissistic, but I would want to be in my own movie. That's awesome. That's really cool. Never thought of that. I thought they had a voice changer from 3. Didn't expect him to be Ghost. I was hoping that 3 would come back. The voice changer from 3 would come back. Here's the thing: if it does, I think it's possible it comes back in part 7, because that's essentially going to be their part 3. EM Productions. This is a spoiler chat, so if you haven't seen it, we are talking about that. I can tell you now. EM Productions. So just so you know, I'm going to say it. There are 3 killers in this one. It is Ethan, Quinn, and Detective Bailey. Ethan and Quinn are actually brother and sister, and they're both children of Detective Bailey. They also happen to be relatives of Richie, the Ghostface from the last movie. So it's a rehash of Scream 2, with the Mickey role being split between Quinn and Ethan. So yeah, I really liked them. I really liked them as the killers. 5 killers technically, but 2 of them die right off the. So yeah, technically, if you want to say it that way, there were 5 killers, because Jason, Jason and Greg at the beginning. If you wanna include, I mean, at that point you can kind of include Sam too, because Sam puts on the robe and kills someone. But if you include her, you would have to include Sydney, because Sydney puts on the robe in part 1, I think. So yeah, there's 5, but the overall story, I don't think the value of that scene goes out of the way, because that scene there in that scene they're killers, but technically we don't see Jason killing, or we don't see Greg killing. It seems like they've just been planning it, because there's no other kills that have been reported. So technically, Jason that we know of hasn't killed it, or Greg hasn't killed anyone, and Jason even says it. I'm sorry. He says it in a rather vulgar way. He's like, "I'm sorry, I got blue balls. I had to practice." So it sounds like they're like ramping up to do. But Greg, we never actually, if you want to get real technical, am I in Jeepers? I kind of, man, kind of. Anyways, so technically, I mean, if we're going way down in the weeds with it, Jason would be, Greg wouldn't be. But yeah, I don't think it's discounting that scene. It's just saying in the story we're following, they were just targets for the Ghostface as well. That's what it was. That's the way I would say. But yeah, there were, when I say 3, I mean in the overarching narrative that there was Jason and Greg, but they weren't too successful. How many subs do I need to go live? Are you talking to me, Carter? Because I'm already live, my dude. I am really close. The last I checked, I needed 51 subscribers before I could get monetized. I'm 51 away from 1,000, so I'm getting pretty close. I can already do live, so I haven't seen the movie yet. It's a real patty dropper. Do you mean panty dropper, Doyle? I will say the movie was like sexy. As weird as it is to say, it is sexy. So yeah, but I don't know about panty dropper. I don't know how. Let me know in the chat, how did y'all feel about Tara and Chad's relationship? Because I loved it. I know some people were saying that they didn't dig it, like they weren't on board and stuff. But I personally, I loved it. And I thought it was really sweet. I thought they brought it in a subtle enough way. Like it didn't seem like it was like we're jumping in and we've already missed part of the relationship. It seems like we're jumping in right at the beginning of it, like it's just starting to blossom, if you will, which is a weird word to say, but I enjoyed it. I really did. I love their relationship. So let me know what y'all think about it down there. The core 4, y'all. Excuse me. I was wondering when they said that. I'm like, do they watch Craven Something Scary's channel? Do they watch it? Like, because I'm pretty sure he's like the first person that said that. He's the first person I saw. That sounded scary. You're absolutely correct. There was no mention of the McKenzie family or the Wrongly Accused musical. They changed a lot of stuff. They did change. Like the lines from the trailer when Ghostface said to Gale, like, "There's never been one like me, Gale. I'm something different." Those were completely taken out, which is good because technically they weren't different. And I said it a while ago, like, I don't think they are going to be different. If I'm being honest, I think they're going to be a rehash of part 2. And they were. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up on the chat here. Whole movie is a mishmash of Ask the Theories on these streams. Sorry, I love Tara and Chad. I think they would be Hey, cool. I can't add them from here. I love Tara and Chad. I think they will be the next two. See, that's what I thought. Here's the thing. And the one thing I got wrong in my prediction that I know of, I'm gonna have to go back and watch my prediction video in its entirety. But the one thing I got wrong was I was really certain Mindy was gonna die because that would have left us with a new OG3 or an NG3, a new. I mean, we all know what OG stands for. I don't think they'd be gangsters. So a new OG3. We'll just say it that. With Sydney, we have Sam. Gale, we have Tara. Dewey, we have Chad. I thought that's the way it was going to be. And obviously I got it wrong. And here's like everyone who was in a previous movie survived. Everyone who was coming into this movie from another movie survived. Part 5 had 6 survivors. This had 7 survivors because you got to add Danny in. And I was right about that. I said I think Danny could be the only one of the new cast to survive. So I'm really digging it. I like the movie overall, but like I said, on the second watching, I found more things I didn't care for, and I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of people saying this was better than part 2, and I think those people need to put some respect on Wes Craven's name because this movie, if it is better, you know what? I'll say it. It has to do more. It has to do more than part 2 to be as good as part 2 because we already had part 2. And they already had part 2's blueprint to work off of. They've got an entire franchise of things to work off of now, while part 2 only had one other movie to work off of. So, like, we didn't have that backstory. We didn't have that lore. We didn't have all this infrastructure for the Scream movie set up when part 2 came out. So, part 2 did amazing with what it had. Part 6 here essentially does the same thing that part 2 did, but part 6 has a lot more to work with, a lot more characters, a bigger budget by at least $10 million. I think it went from like 24 million for part 2 to 35 million for part 6. So part 6 had a lot more going for it than part 2 did. But I don't think part 6 used them in a way that made it as much so much better than part 2 that everyone's saying that. So anyways, they filmed several different versions of the movie, so they may release that take. I seen Chris Gordon film Threat Call the Core 4 a bunch, but I don't know where it originated. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know where it originated. I'm just saying the first place I heard it was on Steven's channel, which I thought was cool because we do know that they watch like Dead Meat. The directors and producers and stuff watch Dead Meat, and now Dead Meat. If y'all didn't see, Dead Meat actually used one of Steven's thumbnails from a Stu video on his last video for the kill count for Scream 5. So that's pretty cool. So now there's a kind of a connection there. Why did Ghost say that's another thing. That's another thing, Alex. That's something that doesn't make sense in the context of the story. In the context of the audience, it makes sense. But in the context of the story, it doesn't. Because the audience obviously knows, and it's a big deal to us, that Gale has never got a call. But for the character, this in story to say that doesn't really make sense. So I don't know. That's one of the things. That's a small thing though. That was like that. It kind of bugged me. All right. I think I'm done with a sketch over here. Y'all want to see? You want to see a sketch? Anyways, let me check that out. If Gale was such a good reporter, wouldn't she have? Okay, that Blucka, you hit the nail on the head. Another one of my biggest problems with this movie is no one knew that Detective Bailey was Richie's dad. Like the siblings getting away with it is fine. Okay, whatever. They moved to a new city. It's a new college. Which, by the way, I immediately the biggest hint for me that gave away who the killers were was when Quinn comes in and sits down because it's already been established. We already know that Detective Bailey is Quinn's father. When she comes in and sits down and talks to Tara, and she's like, "Yeah, after my brother died, I came to New York and my dad followed me." As soon as she said that, I'm like, "Well, we got a dead family member. This is a rehash of two. Quinn's a killer. Detective Bailey's a killer. Calling it now." Ethan was always on my list because of the play. Um, so, but you're absolutely right, Blucka. The NYPD didn't know. Um, Gail didn't know, and there was a whole thing about Gail finding the shrine when no one else could find it, and Gail wrote a book about the murders. Like it, it doesn't. And here's the thing: I think I know why they did this. One of the biggest complaints about Part Two, in terms of Miss Loomis, is that the limited screen time and they never interact with Sidney. And there's a reason for that. It's because Sidney would recognize it. So it doesn't make sense for them to share the screen and in that way and them not know, right? So with this, they addressed it because this is their Part Two. They addressed that. They gave them so much screen time. They put them on screen at the same time. The only way it works, though, is if they don't know that's Richie's father. But that opens up all these other questions of like, why doesn't anyone know that's Richie's father? That was a big deal. That's huge. One of the cuts, Quinn, Ethan, and Detective Bailey were supposed to be related to it. So I saw that was like a leaked script, but I think that was a fake one that was leaked just to throw us off. Plus, Sam told Bailey about her therapist and he gets killed. I think you're probably talking about indicators of who it was the killer. Yeah, that's also a big indicator when Sam's like, "Hey, yeah, here's my therapist. That's my alibi." And next thing you know, her alibi is all mutilated and her file is stolen. So, yeah, that was another big hint. All right, y'all. This is I don't know if you can even see that. Doesn't look like much now, but it's gonna be a side view of Ghostface. Doesn't make sense, my initial sketches, but trust me, it'll be there. Um, it looks weird, but it'll be there. Um, where are you, Carter? You asking that question, and we're talking about a serial killer documentary or serial killer movie right now, and I don't feel like answering that because I don't want to get cold-blooded mutilated. Orlando, technically. Um, yeah, I love Smile. Yeah, Smile was great. I also loved Smile. So let's see here. Uh, my biggest confusion is, did Kirby know the way she looked when she, Tara, and Chad entered the shrine? If Detective Bailey really had Kirby investigated, the FBI would have given Kirby the heads up. I don't know. I don't know if they would have. Because if Detective Bailey lied and said something like he's worried about her or she's done something, they wouldn't have given her a heads up to avoid that kind of um to avoid if there was something up with her causing any issues, right? So I don't know if they really would have given her a heads up. So I don't think she actually knew. I don't think she knew at that point. I think she was just being told what Bailey wanted her to know, and what Bailey wanted her to know was what he was doing to set her up. So yeah, overall, I love the movie though. Like I said, we're talking about a lot of negatives here, but overall, I did love the movie. It was pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it still gave me some good surprises here. So, uh, What did y'all? We already talked a little bit about the killers. I saw some people said they didn't like them, but Ethan and Quinn. Like, what did y'all think about Ethan and Quinn post reveal? Because post reveal can do a lot. Like, we know, like while under the mask, Charlie was doing work. He killed great, but um, once the reveal happened, a lot of people don't like Charlie. Um, so let me know what y'all think about post reveal Ethan and Quinn. What if Kirby is convinced Stu's alive and they actually suspended her? That's why she had been researching Sam and Tara before the attack started. She wasn't researching Sam and Tara before the attack started. She was researching Jason and Greg. That's something you kind of pick up on. So Kirby, and the way you pick up on that, Alex, is um, Kirby says, Special Agent Kirby Reed, FBI, I'm out of the Atlanta field office. And then if you look back, when Jason and Greg are talking on the phone, Greg, who's actually Ghostface, says, how long have we known each other? And Jason's like, you tell me, because he's getting suspicious. And he's like, 8 years. We met in middle school in Atlanta. So she was actually researching Greg and Jason, not Sam and Tara. And it also comes up when they're going into the shrine. Gail, Kirby asked Gail, like, how did you find this place? And Gail's like, oh, it's called investigative journalism for a reason. And she asked Kirby, like, how did you not find it? And Kirby says, I've went over their financial records a dozen times. This has never showed up. So yeah, that Kirby was actually never researching Sam and Tara. It was all about Jason and Greg. So her only relation to Sam is that they went to high school, which does clear up a lot of questioning people have, right? Because some people, we were, I mean, I know I was on a stream right before the movie came out, just like the day before. And that's one of the things they were talking about, is how, like, if the age would work out to where they would know each other in that way. Hold on, Scott Walker. Where's Scott Walker's comment? I gotta look at it here. Did you see any evidence in Scream 6 pointing that Stu is alive or not? Okay, so here's what happens. It's the first time they're in the shrine, and they're sitting there. Mindy's sitting on the stage, and she's sitting right in front of the TV, the infamous TV, right? And Kirby comes to sit next to her, and Kirby sits down and says, that's the TV that killed Stu Macher. And Mindy's response, and she doesn't say it in a joking manner. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't like give a haha. She says, that's if you think he's really dead. And then Kirby moves on. Doesn't continue the conversation. Doesn't say, oh, he's dead, or oh, that's just theory I heard. Kirby just moves on. So that's pretty much what we get. So let's see, Scott Walker in the hospital. If Stu did kill Dewey, why did he take his time? Why did he keep him alive as much as possible? What is yesterday? I don't necessarily think he took his time. I think it's more so that he was. I mean, if he did take his time, maybe he's just enjoying it. We don't know if Stu's been able to kill anyone, and I'm operating under the assumption that Stu, in fact, did want to kill people. So, I don't know if he took his time per se. But if he did, like I said, maybe he just wanted to enjoy it. I think some people enjoy killing and because they're weird. So, yeah, that's what it's. It's an honor. Chalking that up to Dewey's one of the people that got away in the first movie. So, like, maybe it's an honor to finish what he started a long time ago. That could be what he's talking about. Not quite sure. Yeah. So Carter here. Gail finally realizes she's got to die, and Sam's going to kill Chad. Oof! No, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't believe that will happen at all. If I'm being honest, I don't think Sam is going to kill anyone else, unless it's self-defense. I think the ending, in my opinion, the ending was pretty clear cut. She stole the mask, considering it like keeping that part of her. But then, as soon as Tara was like, "Hey, you're gonna, you coming?" She dropped the mask. In my opinion, that was a very clear-cut sign that of Sam saying, "I'm putting this part, just part of me, away." I think it will come back if someone tries to attack them. Sam is going to go, all fist of fury again. I think that's very likely that if someone attacks him, that part of Sam's going to come out again. However, at this point in time, I think it's more likely that it's gone away. I don't think Sam is going to go to the dark side. I know a lot of people were thinking it. Personally, I never thought it. I never thought Sam was at risk of going to the dark side. The dark side. Um, just so y'all know, here's the first color's done. That's what what it looks like. Basically, what I do is I work with shadows. Let's just talk about the art really quick. If you want to call it art, I don't. It's not really. I do like outlines in terms of shading. You start with the lightest sections and then you shade backwards. I've got these. They're alcohol markers. They're not expensive or anything. Draw an outline with the shading. I start with the the lightest sections, and then I draw to the darker sections, and then that's it. New Dale. I knew Gail wasn't going to die. I'm so excited for Scream 7. Yeah, I knew she wasn't going to die either. I was not worried about Gail one bit. When it came about and the attack came, I'm like, okay, it's going to get close. I'm like, I know she's going to get attacked and she's going to get messed up. I know that's going to happen, but I don't think she's going to die. And you know what? Surprise, surprise. Not really surprised. We were right. She didn't die. And I think I'm going to be honest. I didn't want her to die. I want her to live. Wanted her to live. I'm also really excited for Scream 7. I see a lot of people talking about Scream 7. I'm super excited for it. It's a little early for me to start making predictions on 7, but I think the basis of what I'll say now is it's going to be a rehash of Scream 3. I don't think we're only going to have one killer. I think that's going to be uniquely Scream 3. But in terms of the final act of a trilogy, I think it's going to follow those rules. So I think it's going to be about going back to something you thought was true in the beginning and finding out it wasn't true. And we got to remember the beginning of this trilogy isn't all the way back from part 1. So if anyone says it's something about Christina Carpenter, I don't think they're going to bring Christina Carpenter into the mix at all. So going back to the beginning and figuring out something that's not true. And the beginning of this one would technically be part 5. So if there was a killer that helped them in part 5 that got away, part 7 is where we're going to find that out. So if it was Stu, part 7 is where we're gonna get it. So I'm super excited for 7. That's about the only prediction I'm going to make for 7 right now, is that it's going to be a rehash of Scream 3. Here's something I thought of. What if Scream 7 is not necessarily a rehash of Scream 3 that we got, but it's a rehash, or it's the Scream 3 we were supposed to get? What do y'all think of that? Like, obviously we know the original script was actually Stu leading a cult and all that jazz. What if that's the Scream? That's what we get for part 7. Sorry if I'm getting a little close to the camera here. I'm kind of using the trying to draw more comfortably. I know it's probably a little awkward, but Yeah, I gotta do the shading here. Hope tomorrow y'all get to watch it. Yeah, if anyone hasn't watched it, this is spoiler talk. I'm leaving it up there for a reason. So yeah, I really hope y'all don't get it spoiled if you don't want it spoiled. If you're okay with them, totally cool, stick around. But if you're not okay with them, I would suggest heading out until you watch it and maybe come back and watch the replay. But yeah, so let's go back to 6. Are there any discrepancies that you all notice? I'm gonna point out one here in a second that was kind of little, but also you could work it into being a clue that Stu is involved. Hold on here, Thomas. That would be the perfect ending for the trilogy, Eric. I'd enjoy that a lot. Plus, imagine if he's telling his backstory and we get flashbacks from the past films. What if he comes out and confesses? Y'all, see, right? Wouldn't that be great? We get the original Scream 3 we were supposed to get, but now it's Scream 7. There's so much more weight to it. And I do think the entire I don't think we've abandoned I don't think we've abandoned the cult idea at all. I think there's a couple things that still that lend credence to the to this cult theory, and one of those is obviously, I mean, we kind of see it taking shape in this movie, which we had Jason and Greg doing their killing spree, completely unrelated to the main ghost faces we have. Um, and also, there's a line at the end when they're talking about the shrine. Detective Bailey says something about like this is when he confesses that all the stuff in the shrine actually belongs to Rich. And what he says is he was an avid collector. He inspired people. So if you take that line as like people are inspired by Richie, he isn't he inspires that cult. And we do know that, he kind of whoever it is who actually took the reins in part 5, either Amber or Richie, they were influencing each other. So Richie did have influence over some people at least. Denisha, yes, you're going to get your drawing. Everyone who's won a drawing is going to get them. I just because it's Scream Week and I've been so busy, I haven't gotten to the post office to ship them out. You're gonna get them. Denisha, still reach out to me on Instagram and give me your shipping address. Don't put it in here. I don't want everyone else to see it. But message me on Instagram and give me your shipping address so I can send it to you. But I am, just so everyone knows, still working on it here, getting some more shading in on it. It's starting to come together, but I'm gonna do the same thing I did last time, throw out a trivia question at the end. I don't know what that trivia question is going to be just now, but I'm going to throw out a trivia question. Whoever gets it right gets the drawing, and yeah, I'll ship it to you as long as you're cool with giving me an address to ship it to. And yeah, it'll be all yours. Let's see here. I think we're gonna go to the next color. We're actually good. Oh, oh no. Oh, here it is. Woo! Thought I lost the cap to a marker, y'all. Thought I lost the cap to a marker. Gonna be really sad. All right, third color, a little darker. I always go in shades of gray. The way Detective Bailey says everybody dies like Stu. Everybody dies like Stu did when he was talking to Sidney. Yeah, Detective Bailey, I felt was a little bit of a kind of an amalgamation of a lot of people. So he definitely did take cues from everyone. You know what I also liked when they're kind of beginning of their reveal, after they're already revealed, but it's still in the beginning. Quinn says, "I've got Stu Macher's mask. He was my favorite." I love that. What I was talking about, there's something else that could lend credence to Stu being involved, right? Yeah, go subscribe to my Instagram if you win something. Even if you're not subscribed, or you don't win something, go follow me on Instagram. I usually do some updates over there. I'll post some artwork and stuff. But yeah, follow that especially if you win something, because that's how you can give me your shipping address to get your art to you. So yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. I always kind of feel weird drawing and talking at the same time because I'm not looking up. But love you some Stu talk. All right, here goes, and let me know what y'all think about this. This is something that you kind of gotta think about in a way. It's not just something you'll see and immediately get. But Jen, have a good night. Hope you loved the movie. Thanks for coming to hang out as long as you did. Get some rest. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. So let's see here. Oh, thank you, Denisha. I just saw it come through. So in terms of Stu, another clue that Stu could be involved, right? So in the shrine, right, we have all those boxes, or the dioramas of the people who have been killed before. We get an up close look at Dewey's, which was heartbreaking, right? We get an up close look at and we had a publicity photo of Sarah Darlings, which is pretty good. But on the in the diorama, one of the things we see is a drawing, and it's an actual like drawing of the dead body, as well as how they were killed, right? And the drawing is the dead body the way the police would have found it. For Dewey, we see Dewey laid out on the floor. For Sarah Darling, the drawing of her is actually hanging over the door where she was found. Yeah, Denisha, I got it. I saw your address come through there. So the drawings are of the characters as the police would have found, right? That's established. Well, with Principal Embry, let's think back to Principal Embry's death, right? We know he's actually killed in his office. And we see, the last we see of him, he's laying dead in his office, kind of spread out. We know the pose. I mean, I can't do it exactly, but if you saw it, you would remember, okay, that's how we saw him last, right? But that's not how he's found. We know from Randy's call that he was found hanging from the goalpost, hanging from the goalpost of the football field. That's what Randy says on the phone. That's why all the kids leave to go see him. They literally say, let's go see before they cut him down. So that's how the police would have found him, right? Hanging from the goalpost. The drawing is of him dead in his office. And it's a very accurate drawing of him dead in his office. My question to you is this: who else besides the audience and the person who killed them would know how he looked laying dead in his office? Maybe the person, like I said, the person who killed him. If that was Stu, which it very well could have been, because right before that, what happens is him and the girls, Sydney and Tatum, separate because they go to the convenience store to get some food, which is where obviously we see Ghostface like running around. We see him in the mirror of the convenience store. That's one that's always kind of like weirded people out. But Stu separates from them at that point, so we don't really know if it's Billy or Stu that kills Principal Embry. But the only person that would have known how he looked and been able to describe or draw that accurately would be the person who killed him. So, and like I said, that's something you kind of got to think about and put together, and it could be a plot hole, could be something they didn't think about, or could be saying that if could be saying that maybe Stu's alive, maybe Stu drew him, or maybe Stu was working with someone and described it. Like, I don't think it's very clear cut that Stu is dead, and they have every opportunity to say that he is. So it doesn't make any sense to me for people to say that he's dead and there's no way, because they just, in movie, they never do. They have a ton of opportunity to, but they just never ever do. Uh, so yeah, but that's another thing. Like I said, could give some credence to Stu still being out there. Um, I'm still hopeful. Still hopeful. High current company. It's also possible that the call about him being strung up on the goalpost was just a way it goes. Ghostface got the rest of the kids out of the party. You know what? You're um, that's true, Sarah. Except for part of the diorama includes the rope he was strung up from the goalpost from. So that's correct, but if that's correct, then the rest of the diorama is wrong. So yeah, I'm not certain. There is a possibility that it's wrong and that call was um fake, but that the only thing I can respond to that with is the fact that the rope, like the noose that he was hanging with from the goalpost, is included in the diorama. I don't remember if the note says anything about the hanging from the goalpost. It's possible that it does, because like I said, it the drawing also includes, like, they just write out all the wounds and everything, like how they were killed. Um, Speaking of kills, let's go to kills here. For this movie, I was a little underwhelmed at the variety. Ghostface essentially just stabbed everyone in the stomach a lot. Um, that's basically all it was. I mean, there was obviously a few differences, like old therapist Stone got at the eye, uh, that kind of thing. But overall, it was mostly just stabs to the stomach. Yeah, I agree, Jason. I wish you would have gone into a little bit more detail, but honestly, I think they're just leaving it open for part 7. Can't blow it too soon. Let's see. Hold on a second. Uh, you notice that we never saw the person who would have played Stu in the Stab movies. We did never see that person. We haven't seen them. Um, I'd be interested to know who it was, but yeah, you're technically right. We have not seen that person. Sorry, I'm looking at it here, kind of trying to decide how I'm gonna take it. Um, Hammers. That's a good point. I've never considered that. Um, he cut the guts out of Jason Horney. So let's see. Replace the throat stabs for face stabs. What are you talking about? Throat stabs for face stabs. I know we had a face stab in part 4, obviously with the old. I forget what the name of that particular deputy was, but he's played by Anthony Anderson. He got stabbed in the head, and then we know old Ethan, he got stabbed in the mouth, and I think that's what leading up, there was some people talking, at least on Reddit and stuff, about a certain who I don't know how to broach this topic without possibly getting this thing demonetized. I'm not monetizing. You know what? I'm not monetized anyway, so I'm gonna say um a BJ to the knife. That was something that was floating around Reddit. Uh leading up to the movie coming out. There's like, oh, there's going to be a scene where, a BJ with a knife, and I was like, what is going on? I didn't understand, but now I understand it. And just in case you all were wondering, there was a ET Canada, and Sarah, if you're still here, I brought it up to you. There was an interview with ET Canada where they kind of possibly spoiled something, and then ET had to do damage control. They took the clip down from YouTube. They actually had a transcript article published as well, where all the answers were given. They took that article down and published it with that particular statement edited out. What they said was, they asked about favorite, they like straight up asked about like favorite killers, and Jenna said one of her favorite lines was getting to say, "Now die a virgin." We now know who she said that to, so it was a little bit more obvious. But that's what was given away. Oh no, I just colored myself. Got marker on my hand. That's what was given away in that ET interview. Is Jenna saying, "Now die a virgin"? So thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, there were a lot of not a lot of face stabs. There was the one face stab which was pretty cool. There was but most of them were like stomach stabs, and I didn't really think it was that brutal. Like for me, nothing really came close to the. I think the most brutal kill we've ever gotten has been Olivia in part 4. Sorry, brain's not working here. I'm trying to draw. I think that's the most brutal kill we've ever gotten, and I don't think there was anything in this that I would, other than like the decapitation, but we didn't see that happen. That was inside. We just see the aftermath in the refrigerator. So let's see here. Tara has no boyfriend. Yeah, she does. She got Chad. Yeah. That's exactly what I was talking about. I was just saying, leading up to it on Reddit, it was like, what is that going to be? Now, of course, we know, but leading up to it, I was like, that's going to be interesting. And then obviously there was a lot of leaked stuff about what someone said was the Tinder date from hell, which obviously now we know what that was all about as well. And I love how they kind of shit on the stab movies in this movie, because he's like on the phone talking to her. He's like, "Oh, what's your favorite scary movie?" And she's like, "Not that one." I thought that was hilarious. But yeah. Also, this is something that I've been thinking about. Let me know what y'all think. Was it just me, or did they kind of downplay the events of part 5 a little? And the biggest thing for me is Sam's therapist. Like, we know she used her real name because the file that the therapist had was for Samantha Carpenter. We know she used her real name with him, yet he's not aware of what happened to her. Like, you can Google this event, like you Google her name and it's going to come up with stuff. So for me, it was like, are they like downplaying a little bit the events of part 5? Like, some people, it kind of populates the entire rest of the movie, but then her therapist, like her medical professional, doesn't know anything about it. It's kind of weird to me, if I'm being honest. So yeah, all right. Okay, so I got 3 colors done. The only color left now is black. I mean, that's where it really comes together. But let me move this comment off here. This is what it looks like now. Can you see it coming together, y'all? Can you see it coming together? All right. Now I'm going to do the black, and when you see it, you're going to be like, oh my God. Probably not really, but anyways. Let's see. Absolutely loved Gale putting Ghostface on hold. That was amazing. And I love how, like, right before he actually puts them on, or she actually puts them on hold. He's like, and you hear it click. It was super smart, and it was also a also a little reference to part 2, because remember what Jada yelled when she was in the theater? Like Casey on screen and stab. Casey gets the call, and Jada says, "Bitch, hang up and star 69 his ass." That's exactly what Gale did. She hung up star 69 to call him back, and and heard where the phone was coming from and just freaking unloaded in there. Unfortunately, Gale is not a good shot, apparently. Which no one in the freaking movies is, except for, here's the thing. If you look at Detective Bailey, he was actually a pretty good shot. He got Kirby with her shots when he after he wakes up from that fall where Sam took him over the edge. He goes through and he just kind of instinctively shoots the mannequins. He gets a headshot on everyone he looks like he shoots at. So Detective Bailey's actually a really good shot. Oh, also another thing I really loved that was kind of a throwaway line, I guess, for Ghostface. But when Ghostface is talking to Gale, he's like, "You would have made a really good killer. Sidney would have never made sense, and Dewey was a fan favorite, but you would have made a good one." So I thought that was a really cool line because it kind of acknowledges the fans making all these theories, because some people actually theorize that Sidney would be the killer in this one. Some people theorize that Dewey was actually part of the kill from the beginning. So I think it's cool that they acknowledge those things. Sidney got Richie through the door in Scream 5. Okay, I was referring to part 6 specifically, but she did. I think it was a lot of luck on that. I think most of that was luck, if I'm being honest. But yeah, he just got headshot after headshot inside that in the shrine. But yeah, Gale, were any of y'all worried about Gale? Like I said, going into the movie, I wasn't worried at all that she was gonna die. But during that scene, I'm like, oof, she's getting it pretty good, and she was smart about it too. Like, that's one thing I'll give this movie is the killers actually took the proper kind of precaution, or not the killers, but the victims took some of the proper precautions before, you know, before they're attacked or during the attack, yet they still doesn't work out for them, which is it's something different in my opinion. Um, like specifically, so when Gale gets up to go to take the knife, she doesn't just go over to take the knife. She steps on the killer's hand, or steps on their wrist first. That way they can't pop up and stab her. And that's pretty smart. Also pretty smart, she does the star 69 thing. That's, in my opinion, really smart, because the killer doesn't have killer's probably not expecting to get a call and for their phone to ring. So, little surprised. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief, in my opinion, that takes place in this movie, though, or that has to take place in this movie. And I was hoping a little bit they would get away from that, make things a little bit more realistic, because at Gale's house, it's established that that's Quinn. Everyone was thinking this is some highly experienced, tactical, trained person. It's Quinn. She's the one attacking Gale, doing all that parkour over the couch and everything. So it's definitely not some tactically trained, highly experienced person. It's a teenager in high school, or in college, freshman year of college. So yeah, I would say that that's a little bit more of the whole suspension of disbelief thing. You wish it was more grounded again. I agree, Blucka. it was still a good movie. Like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm just completely shitting on it. I did enjoy the movie, but there's definitely some stuff about it. Watching it twice and thinking about it more and more, that I'm like, does that really fit or make sense? Like, Quinn, right? It's even asked, um, how did you come to be roommates with Sam and Tara? She answered an ad. And then Tara says, it was an anonymous ad and we vetted her. How did they vet her? They obviously didn't, because she's the killer's brother or the killer's sister. So they obviously didn't. Let's see here. It was obviously Quinn. She was definitely athletic in high school, the way she was doing that parkour. Plus, she and Ethan were trained by detectives. I don't think so. Here's the thing. Why would they have been trained by Detective Bailey? This is only a year after the events of 5. So, and anything that applies to them would have applied to Richie. And Richie was a little bitch. Like, he didn't have any of that. Why would Detective Bailey have been training these two but not train Richie, unless it's after Richie died, in which case there hasn't been enough time for them to really get good at it. So it doesn't make sense to me. And even if she's athletic, there's a lot going on that it's just, like I said, it's just a little bit of suspension of disbelief. It's not as bad as Amber killing Dewey. That's pretty hard to suspend the disbelief. I mean, it's kind of a party at the shrine. Not the kind of party you want to go to. I mean, it's not quite as bad as like a gender reveal party, but it's pretty bad. That's true. They did change those rules. Although, that's another thing I realized about this movie. The rules were kind of trivial. Like, they didn't really matter. There was no rules on like how to stay safe. Essentially, the rules were the exact same as part 2 and part 3 put together. And none of it came true. Like, Mindy's up in arms that, like, oh, legacy characters are just cannon fodder at this point. Not looking good for Gale and Kirby. They both survive. And then she said, oh, and since it's a franchise, main characters don't mean anything either. They're expendable. Really not looking good for Tara and Sam. They both survive. Like, the rules that she gave meant nothing. That was another thing I was kind of like, this is a little bit like, meh. Let's see here. Blucka. That's what confirmed it was those 3 when he talked about his first kid. It was definitely obvious it was them from that. Yeah. And Quinn, like I said, Quinn talking about it too when she was talking to Tara. I guess trying to like trauma bonds with Tara about how Sam's all up in her business. She's like, yeah, after my brother died, I came to New York, and my father came too. He even transferred to the NYPD. And I'm like, okay, it's very obvious at this point. We've got a new roommate who has a dead sibling with a father who's in the NYPD. Who's the killer? Ding, 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 ding. We got the killers right there. Let's see. Is the story already written for Scream 7? So I just watched the interview the directors did for, I think it was on Dead Meat's channel, and he didn't ask about Scream 7. He asked about, obviously they talked about 6 because that's the flavor of the week right now. And he asked if 6 was already written or theorized when it was announced, right? And I'm just going to assume that it'll be the same way, right? That whatever they did for 5 to 6 are going to do from 6 to 7. And they said they didn't have anything planned when it was announced. As soon as it was announced, obviously they knew it was announced before we did, but they said they actually got the notification that they were going to be a part 6 once the trailer for part 5 came out and the reception at the trailer. So they knew for quite a while that there was going to be a part 6 before the fans did. But anyways, they said no for 6. They didn't have anything written or planned out until they got the go ahead. They got the green light on it. If that's the case, then I don't think there would be anything planned for Scream 7 just yet. Although they might have already gotten the green light on their side, and we just haven't heard about it yet. So, sorry, I'm working on this drawing here, trying to get it done. That's how I'm going to know when the live stream is done. I say we'll probably go an hour and a half here. We're sitting at an hour and 16, and I'm kind of close to being done. I think I gotta pause way ahead here. I'm just filling in the black. The problem is I use a lot of black when I'm drawing Ghostface, and my black marker is kind of running out. So, yeah, I don't know if they already have a story written for 7. Suppose if 7 is a remake of part 3, it could be the parent coming back to kill their hated kid. Christine could have a lot of hate for Sam from taking Tara away as well. Okay, well, Blucka, in the I'm trying to think of how it worked out here. Sam didn't take Tara away, but I could see how a parent might think that. When she's talking to Gail, Sam says, my mother disowned me or cut me off after I told Tara about Billy, and then Tara cut her off for cutting off Sam. So I don't know how that would work out in the grand scheme of things, but I really, and I could be wrong here, I could be dead wrong, but I really feel like there's not going to be any more inclusion of Christina Carter. I think her story, I think she was just there to set up Sam. Like, she only exists so we can get a way for Sam to exist. That's honestly what I thought from the beginning. I don't think there's a lot that they would, there certainly is a lot they could do with it if they wanted to go back that way. But I don't think they're going to. They could. I don't believe it. I think they're gonna stay a little bit more, for lack of a better phrase, par for the course with these. And I think 3, I think 3 is gonna be a copy of, or 7 is gonna be a copy of 3. But I think it's going to go back to that Dreaded thread. I could be wrong, but I think it'll go back to that Dreaded thread, which is supposedly how Richie and Amber met. It's probably where they planned everything, and could be more people involved that just haven't been revealed yet. So I think they'll go that route. Once again, I know I said a lot here in the past 5 minutes, but I could be wrong. But that's kind of the way I think they'll go. Go back to that Dreaded thread. There's a lot they could do with that, a lot more people they could bring in. And I'd be cool with that, because I think that's a little bit more grounded. It's a little bit more real, because with Reddit existing as it does, and it being such a hate-filled, toxic fandom meeting place, it would really work out if that was the way they wanted to go. So, y'all, my marker is running out, and it's starting to tick me off because I'm so close. So close. Let's see. Do you think we'll go back to Woodsboro? I do think we'll go back to Woodsboro. Yes. Do you hold on? Sorry. Let's see here. I saw something. Do you think it will be a sibling or relative in part 3? I don't, because that's what we just had. And obviously, we had that as well for part 3. We had it was a secret sibling for Sydney, obviously, but there was a lot of backstory that required, right? Like the whole Rena Reynolds portion of Marine Prescott, um, like that was required. The whole her going to Hollywood, her infidelity. I don't think that would work. It's too complicated to redo, or not too complicated to redo, but it it's unlikely that that would happen twice to the same group of people. So I don't think they'll go that route. Plus, Sam is already a secret child. So if they introduce another secret sibling to her, that's another secret child, and I think it'd be too much. So, yeah. Let's see here. Scott Walker, you think we'll go back to Woodsboro? Yeah, I already saw that comment. But yes, I do. I do think it'll go back to Woodsboro for an ending. I don't think Scream 3 is boring. I see that comment there. We thought was dead is actually alive. Thomas, who are you referring to here? Get Angelina back. For me, I kind of took it. I don't know why, but after 6, I'm less convinced Angelina is alive. And I'm more convinced she wasn't the Ghostface. I really am. Just because of with Kirby being there and them having the board of all the killers, and Kirby specifically pointing out the only solo Ghostface, give him props for ambition. Oddly, I'm more okay at this point accepting she wasn't a Ghostface. And it's weird. It's weird, I know, but I'm taking her off my list right now. And that could be obviously something that is a twist. We think she's been dead since part 3, but it would be kind of. Here's the problem with Angela. I don't think she's big enough to warrant a comeback in that way. Like Stu, for instance. They wouldn't have to put Stu in the rest of the movie. You could just have Stu introduced at the end, and it would be a huge reveal for almost everyone. Because he's a part of the original. He's part of part of the original killings. He was Billy's partner. Everyone knows who Stu is. But because of the whole lawsuit with Sydney and everything, it's possible that Angelina wasn't even included in Stab 3. So it would be, for the characters in Worlds, like being attacked and everything, it would be a little underwhelming for it to be Angelina as a reveal. So they would have to introduce Angelina earlier in the movie, in which case we as the audience would absolutely know who it is. Sorry, I'm behind here. Alex Bots, but who would be the main cast then besides those 6? Not sure what you're talking about. We'd like to see Stu as a killer in the next movie, but he's just near unstoppable and maybe even gets away. Then it takes Sam, Sydney, and the other survivors to stop him. I'm not sure about that one, good buddy. I don't think so. I do want to see Stu come back. Let's park that first. I do want to see Stu come back. However, I don't think he'll be unstoppable. I do think Sydney would come back to help stop him. But I believe also it would be a little bit of a how to say this? They would have to introduce him at the beginning of the movie, or at least hint to him at the beginning of the movie. We're going to have something where Stu is mentioned before he's revealed in that. Because if they just bring Stu back at the very end with there being no clue that it could be him, it's, I don't know, it just be a little like, what? They would need to do something with the dread thread. All right, y'all, the drawing is done. I just finished it. I'm going to, after I show it to y'all, I will sign it, and then we'll do a trivia question. I gotta look up a trivia question. But they would have to do something. Say they are going to introduce him in the dreaded thread format, right? Him saying, or us saying, okay, well, whoever started this dreaded thread, they could be the one who's planning it. Something like that, and then maybe show them having knowledge, like really in-depth knowledge about the first stab movie or the actual killings. So they would need to do something like that to indicate that it could be Stu. But if there's nothing and Stu just kind of comes out at the end, it's kind of be a little under. You need to have some belief that it could be him. So let's see here. Feel like Grid Entertainment would immediately out the Bailey Kirsch relationship on. Hold on a second. Feel like on Dreaded immediately, but Scream Universe doesn't understand his power. That's another thing. And maybe y'all know. Let me know your opinion, Blucka. Is their name Bailey or is it Kirsch? Because I don't believe that Dermot Mulroney is getting into the NYPD under a fake name. Not in 2020. I don't think you're getting into the NYPD as a detective using that name, like using a fake name. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not believable. However, we do know that Richie was using the name Kirsch before any of this happened, because on his films, when he showed one of his films, it said written and directed by Richie Kirsch. So I just don't get it. Let's see here. I also don't believe Roman acted alone in Scream 3. I think Angelina or Jennifer helped him. The reason being the two of them were going to be Ghostface and Scream. And see, I just think that they did so much digging on this that if they did that, it would actually take away from the shrine. Like, if they do that now, it takes a little bit away from the shrine. It takes away from the whole legacy of that. Because it's like, oh, you were wrong. That big setup you had up there, yeah, we lied. It's not real. Like, it's not right. I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. All right, y'all. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. Here's the drawing. Let's hold on. This light is rather harsh. Here's the drawing, Ghostface. Like I said, it's from the trailer. They had a 1 second. Somebody's having on my phone here. Turn on. There's a point in the trailer. It was like a really close clip, really quick clip where Ghostface is standing and like looking from the side, and I really liked the side point of view. So I wanted to do something like that. And as you see, my black running out. It's kind of tough. I'm probably gonna go over it again with the black to make that a little bit harsher. But yeah, it's a little ghosty from the side. I'm gonna sign this. I'm gonna put the light back on me now because I need a little bit more beauty light so you can see the glorious beard, my dudes. Yeah. All right, we're going with the classic black marker. Hopefully it's good enough for me to actually sign with. What is today's date? The day is the 10th. So I'm going to put 3-10. Is today the 10th? Friday, March 10th? Yeah. 3-10-23 signature. All right. Signed 323 live stream. 3-10-23 live stream. All right, we're gonna be giving this thing away. Like I said, I'm gonna get a frame for it. It's not gonna be anything too expensive. If you want to put it in an expensive frame, it'll feel free to do that. I'm just gonna get just probably something simple to put it in to ship it to you. I'm gonna Google a let's see. I'm gonna Google a trivia question. Scream trivia. We're gonna see what they got here. Useful trivia. Oh, that's way too easy. Come on. I'm not. This isn't the question, but the first question that pops up on stream trivia here is, what town do the killings take place in? I'm like, really? That's so freaking easy. Come on now. What is the name of the? Come on. This is really, really, really easy. Thomas, if that was the question, then yes. They're so. These are the easiest questions. Like, I'd love to go to a competition where these questions. Um, that's actually a pretty good one, but it's also kind of. Oh, okay. Uh, all right. This is a good question. Thanks, Thomas, but I think I got it. Well, this is one that we. I think it's pretty common. It's not that hard, but it's a good question. This is referring to Scream 1. I'm going to give everyone about 20 seconds to get ready. If you've already won, let's let other people give a chance to give an answer here. If you've already won, so let's see. And once like, because there's not too many people in the stream, but if no one else gets it, feel free to throw it out there, and then you can, if you want to give it to someone else, feel free. But for right now, let's just give the other people a chance. So if you have one, you can't participate in it. Not at first. Give everyone else a chance first. But I might do something different if you have already won something. So, all right, here's the question. The party scene at the end of Scream. So basically the entire party scene, entire third act. How long did it take to shoot? That's good, Blecka. That's good, Doofy there. Told you not to interrupt me when I'm back in my room. That's the question. How long did it take to shoot the party scene at the end of Scream? It's pretty famous because they had shirts made that said "I survived scene 118." So, how long did it take to shoot that scene? First person I see with the answer in the chat wins. Ghosty, like I said, while y'all are doing that, I'm gonna pull the black marker out and see if I can get a little bit more black. 21 nights. Okay. Carter busting in with the answer. That is correct. It was 21 nights. They lovingly refer to it as the longest night in horror. That is the correct answer. Sarah, you know what, Sarah? I'm gonna give you a drawing too, because that is the right answer. You jumped in there. I think it just takes a second for the answers to show up, internet connection, all that. I want to do something one time where I have a wheel, um, and I pick who the question's for instead, and then if they get it wrong, move on to the next person. That way it gives everyone an equal chance. But I once again am an idiot and didn't set the stream up with enough forethought and time to do that. I'm gonna draw you something, Sarah, just for you, um, as well, and send it to you because you did get it right as well. Carter's a mathematician. Uh, YouTube logged on my end. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Thomas. YouTube logged on you. But anyways, Carter, congratulations. Here you go. Like I said, that's pretty cool. Sorry. I drew it and signed. Signed 3/10/23. This is for the live stream. Little commemorative drawing. I will get a frame for it and send it to you. If you don't have my Instagram, link up with me on Instagram. And here, just in case, let's see. I think I still have that photo over here. Da-da-da-da. Anyone who is it showing? There it is. Oh, let me take the banner off because the banner's blocking some stuff there. Those are my socials. Feel free to follow me on those socials. I will, if you want, Carter, follow me on Instagram there. Reach out to me, say, hey, I won. I will, like I said, get a frame for it and put it in a frame. I'll send it to you if you provide me with your address. And yeah, it's all in good fun here. Now, so that's the drawing done. I do have to mail out all the others as well, so that's cool. Any last minute things you want to talk about in regards to Scream 6? Spoiler or non-spoiler, anything like that, let me know. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, hit a wrong button there. Put it in the chat. Any comments you got? Any last questions for Scream 6? Do you think the horror space is missing a good parody movie? Yes, Blucka. So my cousin John, love him. He's often in the chats. We agree on movies almost 100%, with the big difference being, and I don't know if this is still true, but it used to be true. I love terrible parody movies, and he wasn't a big fan of them. So yes, I think a good parody movie would be. You know what? I think they should do another scary movie. Get the Wayans back, though. Get the Wayans back and have them do a requel to Scary Movie. Like, that would be hilarious to me. And yeah, I think it would be great. There is a lot of room for a good parody. I think parody it got so crazy there for a while that it just kind of disappeared because it just kept getting crazier and crazier, and it was just, getting a little bit too much for some people. But I think we have a good opportunity now with the resurgence in slashers, that they definitely could bring it back. But yeah, Wayans tried to start a new version of Scary Movie, but it kind of flopped. It was called. I loved The Haunted House. I thought it was really good. I didn't see the second one, I don't think, but I thought the first one was really good. I believe that's where. Isn't that where part of the parody was Paranormal Activity, and Keisha had the cousin who was like, she said something about a ghost. He's like, I don't give a fuck, and he goes in. I thought he was hilarious. Yeah, I had fun with him, but the masses didn't really. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a very niche kind of genre, so it's unfortunate. But I think there could be some to be made. anyways, y'all, I'm going to be probably wrapping it up here. I think I am gonna jump on another stream because our buddy Destin is having a live stream. So I'm gonna jump over on that here a little later. So if you want to come hang out with us over there. Um, anything else? If you haven't given the thumbs up, please do. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm getting really close to that 1,000 sub benchmark, which is what allows you to be monetized. That'll open up super chats, memberships. I think I'm probably going to do something where I draw all of the membership icons and stuff. Yeah, so his stream starts in 4 minutes. Yeah, I got to get over there, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and jump over there. So uh yeah, sorry, I'm just reading the comments about Haunted House and Scary Movie, and they're hilarious. I haven't watched them in a while. So yeah, thank you, Thomas, for posting that link to the stream. I'm gonna head over there. So if y'all want, come join me over there. Other than that, y'all have a lovely, safe Friday night.